random, I went with this one. I was really in the mood just to play with it on Tuesday, so I did just play. And that was the point, to play around. Hi guys, it's Emma, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then, well, nice to meet you. You haven't really been missing out on much because I haven't been posting regularly on here for quite a while, and I certainly haven't been posting videos like this. My bad again. It's a new year, it's February, so this may be a bit late to be saying something like that, but it's a new year, and I have plans. Anyway, those plans involve videos like this one that I'm going to do today, where I'm going to be doing more production-y style stuff again, more recording stuff, and specifically once a month I'm going to be doing a challenge for myself that I will be sharing with you guys, where I will do a challenge for a whole week centered around improving my production skills in some way. So for instance, this week's challenge was for every day for 7 days, I created a basic drum beat because I suck at drum beats. Nothing else, we've literally just created drum beats, as you can see? And specifically, the challenge was that I had to create only a drum beat, only using the step sequencer, because this is a really easy way to program in beats, but in order to do it, you have to really think about how drums actually work. I haven't designed them with any thoughts of trying to turn them into songs in future, but there are a couple in here that I quite like, and I think I am actually going to set myself the challenge next of taking one of the drum beats from this and then building a really basic starter for a song that I could maybe write a melody over the top of. Anyway, that was the challenge I set myself this week. Today is Sunday, it's the last day. I did my last drum beat this morning, so I am ready to present them to you all and show you what I did. So, without further ado, let's do Mondays. Although there is one thing I forgot to do when I did each of these that I'm just going to do now. I'm going to show you guys how to do it because this was a thing that someone taught me in Logic that has been very handy. So if you want to be able to mix these separate, each of the drums in this drum kit separately, you just go to the input bit where it says drum kit, you click the little double arrow thingy, you go to the drum kit designer, it's usually selected automatically stereo, but if you select multi-output instead, then there it is. This little thing appears down here at the bottom of the channel, and if you click this plus, ta-da, it creates new channels for each of the drum parts. I think it just does those four, so you don't get a separate one for the cymbals. I don't know if you can get one. There's a way to get it to do that. I might have to look that up and see, because it frustrates me that I don't get one just for the cymbals, but you get one for the hi-hats and the percussion. Let's have a listen to Mondays while I mix this so it doesn't sound ridiculous in places where the snare in particular is very loud. So you can see that I've got a total of 6 different sections, loopable sections here. And I started each day with something really basic, basically just the kick and the snare most of the time. You can see I also started with those little hand claps here, so I had that as my initial thing. And then I would start adding different things in different sections. So I then added some hi-hats doing... That's a nice simple drum beat. You could launch that into a track and that works well as your drum beat throughout the track. Then I started adding variations to it and seeing what I could do with each of those drum beats. So in this one, I added in the weird thing I've got going on with the snare. Which isn't that great, really. That's it. Maybe I maybe wouldn't use that, but the whole point was just playing around here, so it doesn't really matter. That bit's a bit naff. And then I had a go at doing variations of what the hi-hats are doing, because obviously in different parts of a song, one of the things that quite often varies, the kick and the snare might be doing pretty much the same thing almost all the way through the song sometimes, but where you'll get your variety is you might have open hi-hats more to add more drama, or you might switch your hi-hats out for some crash cymbals or a ride cymbal or something else. A cowbell. We do like a cowbell. So I went with a simple one like that, and then I went with one where basically it's just all the open hi-hats all the way to the end. And I quite like Mondays. I mean, I think I might take out the thing. That I don't like that quite so much. But if I just take the bare bones of this, it's a basic drum beat. So I could build up from that. But as I said, I did one for every single day. So we've got Tuesdays now. I decided on Tuesday I really wanted to use an electronic drum kit because I started easy on Monday with just a 4 on, because actually I forgot to mention this, that beat that I used, the beat kick, snare, rhythm that I use to start with, that's called a 4 on the floor beat because all 4 beats of the bar have a kick drum on them. And then on the 2nd and 4th beats, you have a snare. It's very common. It's used in a lot of disco tracks. It's used in a lot of rock tracks. It's used in a lot of tracks because it's really easy to dance to. Anyway, I wanted to use an electronic drum beat and challenge myself a bit more on Tuesday. So I picked an electronic kit and I put my kick in more interesting places. I didn't have a kick on the first beat of the bar. I thought, you know what, I'm going to skip that first beat, jump to the 2nd, see what happens. So I went 2nd and 4th from my kick and I put my little snare as my first one. And I quite like it. It kind of sounds like a ticking clock, I think. I got my kick snare combo in, and then I added in some little toms sounds, those in, and then I added some hi-hats, and I did something interesting with the cymbals again, because again, I didn't put my cymbals on that first beat. I started them after. And I really like that, but at this point, I like what the cymbals are doing. I like what the snare and the kick and the hi-hat is doing, but I wasn't so keen on these toms. And then I made my other additions. That's the cowbell sound. And then just adding in that little percussion, I'm sure that's sort of short for, suddenly made me like it a lot more. Because I think that now sounds really good. And then you get to the end. This sounds fun and silly, and I almost want to challenge myself to pick this one to be the one that I try and build on. Problem is, I don't know how I would build an entire song around it. I mean, you can tell because the other sections I've got don't work as well. Maybe if I do sections instead where the thing I'm taking out is the toms, and I leave in the zone thingy and the cowbell and things like that. If I left them in instead of the toms in a section, maybe that would work. So I might have another play with that one. I might make that the one. We'll decide at the end of the video which one I'm going to go with. Anyway, Wednesday. On Wednesday I went, I've done nothing but 4/4. Let's do one in 6/8. Because I love 6/8. I do love a song in 6/8. This one I don't like quite so much. I think my start wasn't great. I didn't really like what I'd done with these. I mean, I also don't like the drum sound. Maybe if I changed the drum sound to a different drum, I would like this beat better. Because I really don't like that snare sound. But I did like playing around with the hi-hats on this one. I mean, that initial... That's very waltzy, that, isn't it? I like that. I added claps because I was trying to figure out something to add. And I couldn't think of anything, so I just threw a clap in. I don't think it works. The claps were not a great addition. And then again, I just had to play around with the hi-hats, so I tried out. And I really like those last two. Just don't like that snare. Anyway, that's not the one we'll be picking. We won't be picking the 6/8 one to try and create something out of. No way. On to day 4, Thursday. Thursdays I didn't do as many, and partially this is because I did this in the middle of the night because I forgot about it until the last minute. Don't do things in the middle of the night, guys. If you want them to turn out well, don't do them in the middle of the night. I wanted to try a more interesting kick thing again, so I had to go at having it not on the beats, having the snare not fall on the beats as well. And I do like that start. I feel the need to take that rhythm and put it on something else that isn't this terrible drum machine that I picked just because I went, that sounds funny. Cymbals did not save it. Mostly because they're boring. And then I just went, right, this is boring. I need to make it more interesting. And I added as many different... It gave me 3 clap options, okay? 2 clappy sounds and a snappy sound. Of course I'm going to put all of them in. That's the point of the exercise, to put everything on the drum beat. mean, I guess maybe there's something interesting in there. It might be interesting to take each of the parts out and see what the different parts on their own really sound like. It was an adventure, okay? It was an adventure. Friday. This was a question of, I picked the drum sound. I picked a random drum sound. I wanted to use one of the electronic drum beats. I wanted to try and find another interesting one. I didn't really look at what the drum machine actually had in it, and I realized that this drum machine has a lot of stuff in it that isn't really drums. You know, it's got these bass sounds and it's got these tape loop sounds. It's more for making an overall loop and an overall beat, as opposed to literally just a drum beat. But all I was trying to do was make drum beats to loop. So I then limited myself because I only really wanted to use the percussive sounds in it. I didn't want to add bass. I didn't want to add little bits of a tape loop thing. Can I play this for you guys so you can hear it? You know, I didn't want to add things like that into it, which is why I've gone in and I've got another sound to add some claps in at the end, because I needed to add something else. I started really simple. Again, I picked a simple kick, snare, classic, and then built from there. The other thing I really wanted to do on Friday, something I hadn't done yet, was I hadn't tried using the note repeater on the step sequencer thing. Each of these steps is the 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beat, 4 beat, separated into 4 sections. That's 16th notes. They're 16th notes is what those are. But you can go over here. If you go into this drop down menu, there's a few different options here. It's usually on velocity is the one it's first on. So you can go and you can select the note repeat option instead. And then if you click this, it switches you to a different screen from this is the step on, step off. So that's just programming in which of these sections you want your percussion playing in. And then in the note repeat section, you can take each of those notes and you can make them into even more notes. So I had it going 4, 2, 2, 1, 1. And that gives me that. And I do really like that sound. I like that I've had a go at doing that and tried it and see how it sounds and put it in. I think maybe it doesn't work with the d afterwards. The d after the d is a bit sad, that after in it. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like they fit that well together. But I just wanted to give that a go. I wanted to try using the note repeater in one and see what it was like. And I like the way that I've used the note repeater. I think that I like that effect. It didn't really work, but I got what I wanted to out of it. I made it worse by adding the open hi-hats, I think, didn't I? But hey, and I definitely made it worse by adding the claps. It just gets very cheesy, I think, when I do that. Day 6, aka Saturday, aka yesterday. Not for you guys, because obviously I put up videos on Thursdays, so... But anyway. We went with another classic. This is another classic drum beat. So I spent a bit more time on this yesterday, because I actually gave myself time to sit down and do it. So that you can hear there is more thought has gone into this one than a couple of the other nights. Again, I started with that classic pattern of the on the 1, and then a lead up to the 2 beat, a lead up to the 3 beat, and then snare on beat 4. You'll have heard that before. In fact, even just hearing that drum beat now, I can hear songs trying to start in my head that just start with that drum beat. And then I added really, really simple. I really wanted to use the hi-hat closed option, the foot close option. So that's really simple and that's really easy and works. That would work easily in a song. I will definitely end up using a drum beat like that in a song at some point when I'm producing stuff. But it's not that interesting, is it? The point of the exercise was interesting, so I started adding stuff. First, I tried messing around with the hi-hats, adding in more open ones, trying to make it more interesting that way. Added even more. That wasn't really working, so I went, screw it, let's throw some toms in. And I ruined it. I mean, I don't know, that maybe I didn't ruin it. You could definitely use that in something, but it's just a bit, nah. So I tried again, and I like that much better. On to the last day. The last day, obviously, is today. So this is what I did this morning. Again, for this morning's one, I ended up using 2. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like the one that I did today this much. I mostly just did it to try something different because I'd done electronic drum machines, I'd done things with the drum kit sample builder ones. I wanted to try one with just percussion. And I think the first thing I hate about it is I hate the stomp samples. The stomp samples are annoying because they're inconsistent. And I get it, it's so that they sound real, it sounds like someone's actually stomping, but they're so inconsistent that I don't think it actually sounds real. It sounds like a machine trying to sound real. I started just with stomp on every beat, tambourine on the off beats, so on the ands, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and nice and simple. And then I just started adding the clap and snap sounds on it, which is the main reason I wanted to do this percussion-y type one, was to try different sounds like that, the snaps and the claps. I didn't end up trying any of the other actual percussion bits, mostly because I just didn't like any of these bongo and conga type drums. They just weren't the sound I was going for. So I stuck with the claps and obviously the snaps as well that I added in. And I just went crazy. I thought, right, I'm going to try and make one of those lots of people all working together to make a really complex percussion part with their bodies type thing. And it does sound, it sounds like that, you know, and it sounds good, I think. It makes sense. None of it sounds clumsy or like it shouldn't be there. And I don't think it sounds like too much or anything. I think the main problem I have with it is just that I don't know what to do with it. So I don't really like it that much. I like it in that it was what I was trying to achieve. It just doesn't inspire me. That's it. I'm not hearing other parts in my head when I hear that. Anyway, so those are the 7 drum beats that I created this week, and it's definitely been worthwhile because by doing this, I've been sitting down and actually thinking about drum parts. I went through a list. I found a website for drum students, and I went through the basic drum patterns that they teach drum students to just pick out and start for my starting points. I explored a lot of the different drum sounds that you actually have in Logic, and I've actually listened to some of these and used some of them for the first time because I've been using the same set drums. You know, I quite often I've been going for the Blue Ridge, the Brooklyn I use quite a bit. I think I use the Liverpool one quite a bit too, if I remember correctly. There's actually a drum here called 4 on the Floor. I should have used that one for my 4 on the Floor one, but I didn't spot it was there, and I've just spotted it was there now, and I feel like I missed out by not doing that. Point being, I've used a bunch of the drum sounds that I would never have used normally, just because, you know, you get set in using the ones that you know you like well enough, and you can spend forever just scrolling through sounds and samples, and it's a running joke that producers spend forever just looking for the right kick and snare sound, and it's true, and that doesn't create a song. But when you're not trying to create a song, you're just trying to mess around with the drum thing, you can go through and actually explore the drum sounds a bit more and get to know what's in there and pick something you would never use and just see what it can do. If you are somebody who's trying to, like me, improve your music production ability, this is an exercise I would highly recommend you doing, is just picking an instrument for a day, picking something like the drums or the bass, or, you know, pick synths. I'm going to do a synths one of this one. I'm going to do I'm going to do a week where every day I have to create a lead synth part. So I have to pick a synth, I have to play with it, and I have to try and alter the synth to try and get to know how synths work better. Do that. Do like I am doing, because this has meant that, if nothing else, I have gone through and I've explored a lot of the drum options that I have available on Logic, which is not a thing that I do a whole lot. And now I will go away and I will make a song with one of those drums. So I think I'm going to pick Tuesdays, this one, and start with that and just see what I come up with. I don't think I'm going to be able to create an entire song from this, but I think if I play around with those drums some more, play around with taking out different parts instead of the way that I built it up originally, I might get different sections that I actually like, because I really like that last section. I think that's really fun. So yeah, I'm going to build something up from Tuesdays, and I will post whatever I come up with on my Buy Me a Coffee for my Buy Me a Coffee people. So if you would like to see what comes of that little drum part, then you can find my Buy Me a Coffee linked in the description below. Anywho, I'll be doing another of these next month, so ideas below for things I should do. I'll probably do the synth one if nobody comes up with an idea, but if anybody has an idea for a daily 1-week challenge that I should do next month to improve my production skills, let me know what it is. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing when I'm not doing stupid YouTube videos, then follow all of my social media. They're all linked below. I usually do live streams on Tuesdays as well. At the moment, we're on a break from live streams because I've actually been pre-recording all of this content that I'm doing at the moment because my laptop needs to go in and get its battery seen to, so I'm going to be without a laptop for a bit. And then I'm off on a songwriting retreat, which makes filming hard. So yeah, there won't be any live streams for a little bit, but I usually do live streams on a Tuesday, and the next one of those will hopefully be sometime next month. Anyway, I think that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'll see you with another video next week, but until then...